It was the night before Christmas, and little Dawn was lame. She was lonely, she was sad. So she started praying. Please make him real. I need a friend already. I know just what to name him. I'll call him Teddy. Then the bear grew to 6 foot tall. It was a Christmas miracle, the greatest of all. Little Dawn looked at Teddy in awe and in shock as he got off the bed and started to walk. They danced and they played and they laughed with cheer. They were very best friends until Christmas next year. Little Dawn had grown, she got new toys. Teddy was no longer the one who gave her joy. And Teddy got jealous and his heart shrunk to as small as a mouse. And he finally left Dawn's family's house. He walked and he walked through all of Haunt Town blocks. Then he saw what he needed, a giant toy box. And there he lived for thousands of years, hating Christmas and all of its cheer.
Several years later, every Hauntown in Hauntville liked Christmas a lot. But the Teddy who just lived north of Hauntsville did not. Teddy hated Christmas, the whole Christmas season. But please don't ask why, no one quite knows the reason. It could be his head wasn't screwed on just right. It could be perhaps that his shoes were just too tight. But I think most likely reason of all may have been that his heart was just 2 sizes too small. But whatever the reason, his heart was taut. He stood there on the Christmas Eve, hating the haunts, staring down from the cave with a sour Teddy frown at the warm-lighted windows below the town. For he knew every haunt town in Hauntsville beneath was busy now, hanging a mistletoe wreath.
And hanging their stockings.
And he snarled and he sneered.
Tomorrow is Christmas. It's practically here.
Then he growled with his Teddy fingers, nervously strumming.
I must find some way to stop this Christmas from coming.
For tomorrow he knew that all the haunt girls and boys would wake up early. They'd rush for their toys, and then oh the noise, noise. Noise, that's one thing he hated, the noise. Then the haunts, young and old, would sit down at a feast, and they'd feast and they'd feast and they'd feast. They would feast on haunt pudding and rare haunt roast beast, which was something that Teddy couldn't stand in the least. And to do something that he liked least of all, every haunt town in Hauntsville, the small and the tall, would stand together close with Christmas bells ringing. They'd stand hand in hand and the haunts would be singing. They'd sing, and they'd sing. And the more that Teddy thought of the haunt Christmas sing, the more Teddy thought.
I must stop this whole thing. Why, for 1,300 years I've put up with it now. I must stop this Christmas from coming. But how?
Then he got an idea, an awful idea. That Teddy got a wonderful, awful idea. I know just what to do. That Teddy laughed in his throat, and he made a quick Santa Claus hat and coat, and he chuckled and he chucked.
What a great Teddy trick. With this coat and this hat I look just like Saint Nick. All I need is a reindeer.
The Teddy looked around, but still reindeers are scared. There was none to be found. Did that stop old Teddy?
No!
Teddy simply said,
If I can find a reindeer, I'll make one instead.
So he called his bunny Nick, and he took some red thread, and he tied a big horn on the top of his head. He loaded some bags, and he done it very quick, and on a ramshackle sleigh, and he hitched up old Saint Nick. And then Teddy said,
Get up!
And the sleigh started down the road towards the homes where the haunts lay asleep in the town. All the windows were dark, quite snow filled the air. All the haunts were all dreaming sweet dreams without care. And then he came to the first little house on the square.
This is stop number 1.
The old Teddy Claus hissed, and he climbed to the roof, empty bags in his fists. Then he slid down the chimney. A rather big bet, but if Santa Claus do it, so could the Teddy. He got stuck one only once, and for a moment or two, then he stuck his head out of the fireplace flue, where the little haunt stockings all hang in a row.
The stockings!
He grinned.
or the first thing to go.
And then he slithers and he slanked with his small unpleasant around the whole room. And he took every present, pop guns, bicycles, roller skates, drums, checkerboards, tricycles, popcorn, and plums. And he stuffed them in a bag, and Teddy very numbly stuffed all the bags one by one up the chimney. Then he slunk to the ice box. He took the Haunt's feast. He took the Haunt pudding. He took the Haunt beast. He cleaned out the ice box as quick as a flash. Why, the Teddy even took their last can of Haunt hash. Then he stuffed all the food up the chimney with glee.
And now,
He grinned the Teddy.
I will stuff up the tree.
And the Teddy grabbed the tree and he started to shove when he heard a small sound from a coo of the dove. He turned around fast and he saw a small haunt. Little Dawn was not more than 2,000. Teddy had been caught by his tiny haunt daughter, who got out of bed for a cup of cold water. She stared at the Teddy and said,
Sandy Claus, why? Deed, why are you taking our Christmas tree?
but you know, the old Teddy was so smart and slick, he thought up a lie. He brought it out quick.
Why, my sweet little tot?
The fake Santa Claus lied.
There's a light on this tree that won't light on one side, so I'm taking it home to my workshop, my dear. I'll fix it up there, then I'll bring it back here.
And his fib full the child, then he patted her head, and he got her a drink, and he sent her to bed. And when Dawn went to the bed with a cup, he went to the chimney and stuffed the tree up. Then the last thing he took was a log for the fire. When he came up the chimney himself, the old liar, on his walls he left nothing but hooks and some wire, and then one speck of food. And he left the house with a crumb that was ever too small for a mouse. Then he did the same thing to the Haunt's house, leaving crumbs too small for the other Haunt mouses. It was 15:15 dawn, the Haunt still abed, all the Haunts still asleep when he packed up his sled, packed up with the presents, the ribbons, the wrappings, the tags, and the tinsel, the trimmings, and the tapping. 3,000 feet up the side of Mr. Green's spring, he rode with a load to the tip-top to fling it.
Pooh-pooh to the Haunts.
He was Teddy Hishling humming.
They're finding out now that no Christmas is coming. They're just waking up. I know just what they'll do. Their mouths will hang open a minute or two, then the Haunts down in Hauntsville will all cry, boo-hoo. That's a noise
Grinned the Teddy.
that I simply must hear.
So he paused, and the Teddy put his hand to his ear, and he did not a sound ringing over the snow. It started in low, then it started to glow. The sound wasn't sad. Why, this sound sounded merry. It couldn't be so. But it was very merry. He started down at Hauntville, and Teddy popped his eyes. Then he shook. Then he saw was a shocking surprise. Haunt down in Hauntsville, the tall, the small, was singing without any presents at all. He hadn't stopped Christmas from coming. It came. However, it just came same. And Teddy, with his Teddy feet ice cold in the snow, stood puzzling and puzzling.
How could it be so? It came without ribbons, it came without tags, it came without packages, boxes, or bags.
And he puzzled 3 hours till the puzzler was sore. Then Teddy thought of something he hadn't before.
Maybe Christmas
He thought,
doesn't come from a store. Maybe Christmas perhaps means just a little bit more.
and what happened then? Well, in Hauntsville they say that Teddy's small heart grew 3 sizes that day. And the minute his heart didn't feel quite so tight, he whizzed with the load through the bright morning light. And he brought back the toys and the food for the feast, and himself, I carved the roast beef.